right, it's 12:02. We're ready to start. Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining our meeting today. Today, we will talk about careers in healthcare. This is a panel discussion. So I'll just go over some guidelines quickly. So this event is recorded. After it ends, you will see it in the Teams meeting over here, and we hope to also put it in our YouTube channel for UT Dallas Career Center, so you can view that at your own time. Please mute your mics and videos during the session, but at the end of the session, around 12:50, 12:45, we will have Q&A session where you would be able to unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask your questions. You can also ask your questions in chat. Please keep your comments and questions respectful, and closed caption is available. So if you need that, you will need to click the three dots on the bar towards the bottom of the screen and select Turn on Live Captions. All right, and I'll start with the panelist introductions. I'll turn it over to Adam to introduce themselves.
All right, everyone. So welcome. My name is Adam James. I am the Vice President of Tissue Operations here at Southwest Transplant Alliance. Very briefly, we are what's called an organ procurement organization. Basically, our teams help recover organs and tissues for donation and transplantation throughout North Texas and honestly throughout the community. I do have a bachelor's degree in biology. I also do have an MBA with a concentration in healthcare management. I'm also certified in healthcare quality, but also tissue banking. And I do also serve on the advisory boards for Arizona College and North Central Texas College as well. And that's my intro.
Well, I'll jump right in. My name is Aniesha McClinton, and I am the Assistant Director here with UT Dallas's Career Center. I work on the employer relations side, where I partner with employers all across the state of Texas and outside the state of Texas to promote their brands on our campus and promote their opportunities to students like you all who are looking for either internships or full-time employment. And so my background is actually on the other side of HR and corporate HR. I've spent about 17 years or so in human resources and recruiting in the corporate side, and have now transitioned over to UTD Career Center to really be able to help the students prepare for opportunities that these companies are recruiting for. So welcome.
Alrighty, looks like I'm next. My name is Danielle Sneed. I am the Director of Behavioral Health Services for LifePath Systems. We are the local behavioral health authority for Collin County, Texas. So just for information, there's one mental health or behavioral health authority that represents every county in Texas. So there's 39 centers across the state of Texas. LifePath Systems is the one that's dedicated to Collin County, Texas. Essentially what that means is the authority is we hold the state contracts, the Health and Human Services Commission contracts for mental health and substance use disorder treatment for individuals who have Medicaid or do not have funding or underfunded and can't pay for the mental health or substance use disorder treatment. So we help with the authority piece of that, managing the contracts, managing the payment structure, as well as actually providing services directly. My background, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. And then my license is a licensed professional counselor. That's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Dena, do you want to go next?
Hi, yeah, I'm Dena Snider. I am Director of Clinical Services at Prolucent Health, and we are a technology company, and we hire healthcare workers all over the United States. I'm a registered nurse, and so I spent 15 years inpatient as a nurse, critical care supervisor, manager, and now I'm with Prolucent Health. So I'm 3 classes away from my master's degree.
That's exciting.
Good for you. My name is Ginger Arnott. I am the Director of Research Operations. We contract with groups of physicians to run clinical research through their database. So most people haven't heard of clinical research or didn't hear about it until COVID, and you heard about the new, vaccines and things like that. So we help new medications get through the FDA process, and whether it's good or bad, we help with that. So my background is I'm a certified clinical research coordinator for a long time. Got my undergrad from Tarleton, MBA from DBU with the healthcare management concentration.
Okay then, and I think I'm next. So my name is Noshin Ferdous. I'm a communications medic for Austin Travis County EMS. That's in the city of Austin. Um, a little bit about me. I studied art in college. I am working on a second degree in cybersecurity and networking, and I am an EMT basic. Our department does not require any previous work experience, only an EMT basic. So I'll teach you and guide you on how you can join our department.
Thank you. And thank you so much for the introductions, everyone. All right, we will just move to the first question. You already covered that a little bit, so let's maybe come in with the second one. So if you can share a little more about yourself, if you haven't shared your education yet, maybe a little bit about your kind of work history, where you worked, what kind of positions you had, and also how did you choose this career? So tell us more about that, maybe like internships or part-time jobs, maybe like networking opportunities, campus resources. So yeah, tell us a little more about your path. And whoever wants to jump first, we don't have to follow that order. So yeah.
I don't mind going first. So I'll break the ice with everyone. I started out this career, honestly, when I was in college. My pathway, in my mind was always to go get a bachelor's degree, minor in chemistry or something like that, and then end up going to med school. So I actually fell into this because I knew somebody who was working in this field. And honestly, one day I just asked him, hey, do you all ever allow people to go shadow? Do you allow people to go just observe a case? And they said yes. And I was really fascinated with just very briefly what I was able to see in terms of these awesome human beings recovering different organs and tissues that was really going to make an impact on the world. And I had always wanted to be, in my mind, a surgeon, right? I was always fascinated with the feel of a scalpel in your hands, and I always thought that was something that was for me. Lo and behold, I ended up being pretty decent at it, and slowly working my way through the ranks, and now almost 20 years later, I'm still doing it, and I get to work on this side of healthcare with awesome individuals who every day make lots of personal sacrifices to help other people. So that's kind of how I fell into this.
I don't mind going next. Oh,
Go ahead.
All right. So I had never wanted to actually be in the medical field. That wasn't ever a driving passion for me. I actually wanted to go to law school, and did my undergrad degree in psychology and took my LSAT. Had plans to go to law school, and just some family situations prevented that from happening. So stayed close to home. I knew I wanted to continue my education and career. And our local school, I graduated from Southeastern Oklahoma State University. I had the clinical mental health counseling degree. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help people that didn't have a voice or a choice. And so that was the direction I was going to go. My first really experience was working at a youth shelter, and that was really eye-opening for me. And so seeing kiddos who had been removed from their home in the middle of the night by CPS due to situations, that was really kind of what drove me into, yes, I can still be the voice and support and advocate for individuals, even if I'm not an attorney. So went with that. My goal, though, when I started grad school, was I was going to be in private practice. I was going to see people, 8 hours a day, session after session. And the more I got into it, the more I just really loved all of the ins and outs and the clinical understanding and things like that. So I started working with a different community mental health center as I was working my way through grad school. So I was able to get just a really variety of experience, doing case management with individuals with serious mental illness. So working with people who had schizophrenia and bipolar, and really getting to understand them, know them, support them, and treating them just like a human being like you and I. That was just really rewarding for me. I also did overnight crisis. So as I was working through my internship in grad school, I went into ERs and did crisis assessments for individuals who are presenting in a mental health or substance use disorder crisis. So they were either suicidal or, at the verge of deteriorating that they couldn't take care of themselves. So I worked really closely with ER docs and nurses, and that was really eye-opening. And then as I just grow in my career and within that community mental health center, I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about contracts. I wanted to know more why we do the things that we do, how we can do more in the community. And so I've just really built up in community mental health. And so I'm now in administration. I really don't even see individuals anymore for counseling or service delivery. But that's kind of my trajectory into my career.
And mine was similar to Danielle's. I was pre-law, and I thought that was the direction I was going. And I did not choose healthcare; it chose me. And I cannot imagine a better, more fulfilling career than in healthcare, and specifically in clinical research, because you get to give medicines. They may or may not be approved by the FDA yet, but this, for some people, is their only hope, and they have access to medications that are not even out on the market, that you can't go to a pharmacy and get. And sometimes it's life changing, and maybe not for them, but maybe for their grandchildren further down the line, because they participated and, were willing to step out and maybe take a hit, but maybe not. Maybe it was just really life changing for them. And then, just to come up with potentially cures for diseases that maybe we don't even know about yet. It's pretty fulfilling, and it's pretty life changing.
I can go next. So as I mentioned, my name is Noshin. I work for Austin Travis County EMS. We're part of the city of Austin. When I started college, I wanted to do something that was more STEM-like, science, technology, and then I eventually studied art. I always exceeded in art. I love being creative. I was looking for a job that would meld both something in the IT field and being creative, and I came across my position. So I'm an EMT basic. I self-studied for my certification. At Austin Travis County EMS, we have different paths that fit your career. So we have paths you can work if like 1 or 2 years and then go into community relations, outreach. I do outreach, and you can find me on the website. I do their photos, their videos, any type of marketing. You can go into like fleet, vehicle management, where they modify cars, public information officer, mental health is huge. We have the community health paramedics who carry about 50 patients per paramedic, and they coordinate with caseworkers and give them city resources to be successful and not be homeless or vulnerable. So we have a lot of different things that your major can be an asset for to our department. I am looking at the questions. Other than that, we require no experience. So coming in, I worked at a 911 agency only for a few months, and through the city, I gained all my experience, which is really good. We teach you how to draw blood, how to stab someone with an EpiPen. We'll teach you all of that. So it's really nice. If you guys have any questions, always add in the chat.
Dena, do you want to go next?
Sure. So yeah, the common theme is we all went into maybe not necessarily healthcare, but healthcare found us. But we all want to help people, and that's such a rewarding career. So I'm a registered nurse, and I didn't go to school until most of my children were all in school, and so then I decided, now what am I going to do? And so I went to nursing school. Graduated in 2007 and worked on, it's funny, Adam, because I worked on we did heart and lung transplants so I worked as a nurse on a transplant floor. And one of the most rewarding things as a nurse is seeing someone come into the hospital just on their last days, and for them to get a new heart is like so rewarding. But so I did that for a while, and then I became a supervisor and a manager, and I managed a healthcare team or a unit in critical care. And like I said, now I hire nurses and other healthcare workers and place them in permanent and travel positions all over the United States. So healthcare is such a rewarding career. And if you start off doing one thing, and as a nurse, if you do that for a few years, and you may love it, but you want to see what else can I do, and you can move to mother baby, or just working with children or working with adults or mental health. There's so many needs, and so it is a great career, and I just couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I wanted to jump to the question about the typical day look like. Maybe you don't have a typical day, but if you can share a little bit of like what kind of responsibilities you might have, duties, and also work-life balance. It's huge in healthcare. And I know that a lot of students worry about work-life balance and like this ability to manage work expectations and life, families, and stuff like that. So if you can also talk about that, how does it look like in your field? And yeah, overall about your day.
One of the things that I love most about my job is that no 2 days are the same. So I never know what's hitting. I mean, I have it scheduled, but that, we all know what that's like. So my job is to support my people. So I give them what they need to do their jobs, and then our whole team is a success. That is not a reflection of me. That's a reflection of them. Work-life balance. I carry 2 phones. And I'm so happy to do that, because when I go on a cruise and I turn off my work phone, it really is off, and I can still get in touch with my grandkids. But I have such a great team with me, that not even under me, but with me, that I'm totally good to be gone. They don't miss me. They don't need me. But my job is to support them.
Same here. I also carry 2 phones. In administration, I'm a leader of leaders. And so having a strong team with me allows me to turn my phone off when I go on vacation too. But I will say that getting to this point, in administration and at my level, I actually work way more hours than I did at the front line. But what's good about where I work and what I do is, since COVID happened, a lot of my meetings have transitioned to virtual mostly. So I have 1 day a week where it is literally 8 to 5 all meetings, and I do that from home, which allows me to let my new puppy out and, things like that. So be a little bit more flexible that way. And we also allow our staff, if it's not shift work, because we do have a mobile crisis outreach team and a crisis center. And of course, they do have to be on site during those hours, but we do allow flexibility where they can cover for each other if somebody needs off or not feeling up to being at work today. And so we do allow flexibility there. And then we try as much as possible for any of our service providers, whether you're a case manager or a counselor, or you're an intake or a nurse, that if you're meeting the needs of the people walking through our doors, your schedule can be anything that you want, as long as it meets the needs of the people. For example, like children's services, we recognize that kids and families are typically at work and school during the day. And so we let our children's case managers know up front, this is really more of an afternoon, evening job, maybe some weekends. And if that fits in your schedule, that's great. If you want to work 4 10s to meet the needs of your families, that's something that you can do. And so there is flexibility, I think, and you have to in the mental health field allow flexibility, because one, it's hard for the people in services or for our workforce, but two, it really provides that work-life balance. So we try to give control to our staff as much as possible. And so my role is, if you're seeing the people, you're meeting the needs of those walking through our door, your schedule can be anything you want it to be.
I can go ahead too. Oh, sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay then. So we have two divisions. One is field medics and one is communications. So communications work 12-hour shifts. It's not every day. So they do a continental rotating schedule. They'll work Monday, Tuesday, be off Wednesday, Thursday, and again work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The next week, you're off the days you worked the previous week. So the next week you'll work Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're off the entire week. That's for communications. And then for field units actually work a 24-hour shift. Everyone's housed in it's a house. It's a station, and you sometimes share it with the fire department. There's a kitchen, beds, TV room, everything a house could have. For field, they work about, I would say, 24-hour shifts once a week. I'm looking at the schedule right now, 24-hour shifts once a week. It comes out to be about a 42-hour work week. They divide the hours. If you go to emsrecruiting.org and look at our calendars, it's listed on there. Work-life balance, oftentimes it's assumed that we don't have time, but actually our department helps us balance our time. So as you join ranks and level up, we'll slowly teach you everything. You're not pressured to learn everything at once. We're on call once a month for field, and then communications on call twice a month. If we're short-staffed for any reason, you are not forced to come in. So you get to keep your schedule. Our department, we carry cool stuff like whole blood ultrasounds. We do surgical procedures on the ambulances. We practice more than the EMT basic level of medicine. We practice like tactical type army medicine. Our medical directors are all from the military. Dr. Escott is one of our doctors. We have cadaver labs. So our job is really cool, and we slowly teach you everything. With your degree, you can go into any path, and like me, like I am working in an office, and I am a first responder. So you can, with your degree, you can do something similar where you stay with what you studied as well as serve the community.
I have a quick follow-up question. Can you tell us a little more? Not everyone might be familiar with the term communications medic. Can you tell us a little bit about like the differences, like with EMT?
Yeah. So a communications medic, when in Austin, when you call 911 and if someone's injured or say they're very sick, like COVID-19 was an excellent example, we provide telemedicine over the phone. So we'll triage the call and we can administer medicine like EpiPens, Narcan. We can give asthma medicine, asthma treatments. We also provide CPR, or if someone is traumatically injured, like drowning or car accident, if the car's on fire and they have burns, we tell them exactly what to do over the phone to save themselves while the ambulance is on the way. A communication medic also, because we are EMT basics, so when we see that someone's having a stroke or someone's having a heart attack, then we can coordinate our units and send the appropriate response to make sure they go on time to be able to send the patient back to the hospital on time for surgery. So everything is based on our medicine, but that's a communication medic's role.
All right, so I'll go ahead and hop in real quick. So, with our field is 24/7, 365. The need for organs and tissues does not stop. So for me personally, in my current role, I do deal with a lot of the people side of it. So making sure, I think people have mentioned too, breaking down barriers, breaking down challenges for people to do their job successfully. I'm also really responsible for a lot of the quality and regulatory compliance. So making sure our policies are up to par, they're being followed, and we're doing everything we can to maximize the precious gifts that we get in terms of donated organs and tissues. I'm also responsible in my current role for a lot of the being available 24/7. Again, the need does not stop. I don't have two phones. I have one that constantly rings, but that's really to help evaluate potential donors and make sure that, again, we're maximizing every single opportunity. I also do occasionally help out with the in-field training. There is no school for this. People don't go to school to learn how to do this job. So a lot of it is hands-on. In field, you have to be out there seeing it, touching it, feeling it, experiencing it to get that mastery and that consistency. Work-life balance for us is really more of a work-life blend. In our organization and in this field, there's a lot of self-sacrifice that people make. A lot of people in our organization really do give a lot of themselves, and their time to fulfill the mission of helping other people. But it's a choice that we all make in unison and as a group, as a collective. The work, though, can be hard. So we do have resources available for staff members, in terms of, basic mental health resources. Hey, I've had a really bad day and I've seen somebody lose their loved one. So we do have resources available, honestly, through an app. It's really cool. We actually do have it through an app where you can talk to a counselor 24/7. We have things like an on-site gymnasium. We do bring in massage therapists to provide, just a little bit of a reprieve for the day. You get to have a little massage. But we do provide those types of resources, just recognizing how difficult and challenging this type of field can be.
And hey, as a nurse, as a registered nurse, if you're working inpatient, you're going to work 3 12-hour shifts for 36 hours a week. And then there's always potential to work more shifts, 48 or 60 hours as needed. So 4 days off a week is pretty nice if you just work 3 days a week. But so the flexibility as a 24-hour operation is there, where you can work days or nights, or depending on what your preference is. And now, as a staffing person, I pretty much just work 8 to 5. And although occasionally I'll interview someone if they work nights and they're just not used to, or they're asleep during the day, then, I can interview them at any time. But there's lots of flexibility in your schedule of what works for you.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, I think we can go to the next question. It's not on the list, but I kind of wanted to follow up on this since you mentioned that, like in several answers. I wanted to ask, so for example, as a career consultant, I see a lot of students, like juniors, seniors, who are thinking to do pre-med, but then they decided they don't want to do it anymore. So they're kind of lost what kind of stuff they can do. And like they have, for example, a major in biology, and they're not sure what they do, what they can do. They have like the only new 2 options: research, for example, and for example, doing like healthcare, working, for example, like going to medical school. So I wanted to ask, what kind of jobs would you recommend considering in college? And what kind of jobs could they look into with a bachelor's? So like if student decides not to go to medical or grad school or professional school, so what they can do in college and what they can do with a bachelor's, for example, bachelor's in biology.
We've actually hired multiple pre-med students recently, some full-time, some part-time, as a medical assistant. That gives them, I work for a group of nephrologists, so kidney specialists. That gives them some familiarity with everything in the office, from medical terminology to the computer system to, EMRs and just medications. It gives them tons of familiarity with almost anything internal medicine / kidney specialist wise. We also have this clinical research, a large department that gives them that on their resume if they need that also. We're always happy to have that help. But medical assisting seems to be the new, what used to be the scribe.
I can jump in for a brief second. So that's a great question. Having been in that position myself of deciding what's the next path. I can tell you, I personally love hiring those upcoming recent graduates. A good number of my team are people who are kind of pursuing, I've recently graduated and now I'm trying to decide whether I want to go to nursing school or PA school or med school. And we are able to employ a good number of technicians who get that hands-on experience, that clinical exposure. They get to learn about sterile techniques, sterile awareness. It's really a good segue into a future either in this industry or beyond. And I will just say, if you happen to find yourself in that position that Yulia described about, not being sure what to do, please reach out to me and I can help point you in the right direction, because we are hiring. So
I'll
yeah,
second
that's my
that.
2 cents. Yeah.
I will second that. And so, you know, I'm not really familiar with the trajectory from a biology degree and what people typically go to, like pre-med or med school. But I do know that even in the behavioral health field, we also have medical assistants. We have a on-site pharmacy with a med distribution center that we use medical assistants or pharmacy techs on. A lot of information, especially with psychiatric medications and working with individuals who have serious mental illness, if that's the direction you're wanting to explore. We also have what's called crisis support staff too. And so essentially like a behavioral health tech that you would hear in an inpatient setting, working closely with individuals with serious mental illness coming out of crisis. Working closely with our nursing staff, our registered nurses, or our director of nursing, as well as our clinical teams too. And so there's some opportunities even in the behavioral health field for that degree path.
I can go next. So I would advise the students to shadow. You can see like today, there's so many different types of medical field and positions that are speaking to you today. Don't be shy, ask for a shadow. We'll be really happy to have you intern us for even a day. Even first responders will be really happy. Through Austin Travis County EMS, we do have a write-out program for communications and field. The form can be found on emsrecruiting.org. Or you can go to contact us and ask, submit a question, and I'll answer it and I'll let you know where the form is. In our departments, we offer pay stipends for higher educations, for bachelor's, master's. If you know other languages, Spanish, ASL, there's a list of languages the City of Austin added this year. And then we also have tuition reimbursement. There are numerous first responders who built like a second bachelor's degree or a master's degree through the City of Austin through the tuition reimbursement program. As a pre-med student, or if you are like biology, chemistry, all those majors are assets to us. Even non-science majors are a huge asset to us. You can serve as a first responder, become a captain, commander, division chief. They all overlook different projects in the city, like it would be public health, or they look over the education and training department. And within each division, we have these jobs. So you can become an educator and a first responder. You can teach at the academy, teach training, and it's more than CPR training. You teach in-depth classes. You can also, like say you want to do research. We have a whole safety research team. We have a medical research team. There's multiple things you can do with your career and your major. We practice high quality emergency medicine, and we teach the medics, everyone. We teach everyone everything. Yeah, at the very least, your major is incredibly valuable to us. All you need is an EMT basic to join. Most students can gain that easily because you've already taken your biology and chemistry classes, or your other pre-med classes. And then from there, you can join multitude divisions like social work, public health, research, equity. Equity is huge. Safety planning, emergency management, and of course our team, which does marketing, videography, public relations, outreach, things like that. There's something for everyone.
All right, thank you so much for those insights. This is very helpful, and I'm sure that a lot of students will gain a lot from it. All right, I wanted to move to the next block. What advice do you have for students exploring careers in healthcare? And you also mentioned shadowing a couple of times. I wanted to ask for, do you have specific strategies or kind of a plan how students should look for opportunities for shadowing? Because I know a lot of students, they're kind of struggling if they don't know anyone in the field and they're just like cold email and maybe not hear back. So do you have any strategies? How do you find people to shadow? How do you ask for those opportunities? So basically kind of like in other ways, how do students explore careers in healthcare, maybe even during college?
So I can chime in if you don't mind. My experience is not necessarily in healthcare, but I did go through that same process in building the foundation for my career. So I'm glad you brought up shadowing. One of my first internships or unpaid internships that I found was through reaching out, just going online, finding a company that I was interested in, and finding people or key people to contact to reach out to explore opportunities. Just let them know, hey, you know, I'm here, I'm looking for an opportunity just to shadow, just to spend some time in your HR department, so that I can learn more about the field and learn more about the different areas of specialization in the field. And I'm even willing to work unpaid, take on some projects, just be able to shadow you. And I did that with a lot of different employers that I was interested in, of course, companies that I was interested in, until somebody actually responded. Somebody responded who was really willing to kind of take on somebody like me who was early on in their career, and looking to gain that experience. So definitely that's one of the first things I would say is just, you know, start researching companies that you are interested in working for, departments that you would be interested in working for. Join professional associations, like on LinkedIn or on social media groups, where you can have a better opportunity to network with people that are in the healthcare field that might be able to help open some of those doors to internships or job shadowing opportunities as well. So I definitely think one, it's just that networking is going to be really, really big, and doing your research on those companies and people, key people in the departments that you're interested in working in, and not being shy. Just reach out, send a quick email, send a quick, you know, LinkedIn message, or Facebook, wherever you find them. Definitely, I think it wouldn't hurt to do that, reaching out.
I can chime in just really briefly. Yeah, I would certainly, you know, second a lot of that. I would say, you know, I call that just being mindful of the brand that you present out there, right? Like each and every one of you is a brand, whether that's in terms of your online presence, your LinkedIn connections. You know, I definitely second the connections to local trade associations, student groups, all those things. And in terms of online presence, just being mindful of what you put out there into the world, because that does stay with you, and that is, if you can see it, I can see it as an employer. So just being mindful of you know, that, you know, that is the way of the future, is people's online personas. So just being cognizant of that, because that does have impacts for better and for worse. The last thing I would say is just to I think be cognizant of all the small things, right? As you're approaching people and you're asking for these opportunities, don't forget the little things. So a thank you card instead of a text message, right? Walking over and talking to somebody instead of sending an email. I mean, all those little things are really going to make you stand out from the rest of the pack. It's very quick and easy to send a text message. It's very quick and easy to send an email. But if you want to stand out, you have to do, you know, what I would call just getting back to the basics.
I agree totally with what the others have said. I would add to not limit yourself. As you can tell, none of us are in what we thought we would be doing when we started out. So aim big and just go for your path might not be straight, and that's okay. That might be great. So just go for take the next logical step, and then the next one, and then the next one, and see where it goes. But don't limit yourself. And completely agree with I don't even have Facebook, and there's a reason, but watch what you put out there. And initiative goes a long, long way. If you will walk in and shake someone's hand, and number one, just show up. Showing up is huge. That's my 2 cents.
And I just wanted to say that as a inpatient hospital there are volunteer opportunities, and you may not be doing exactly what you would like to do, but you'll get the atmosphere of the hospital. So whether you're delivering flowers to a nurse's station, or passing out, or just sitting with someone whose family member is having surgery, those opportunities will get you to the hospitals to see, what other, what do careers look like in a hospital, what's going on there. So volunteer, that's always they're always needed.
And I'm just to piggyback on what Dena said as well. Utilize your UTD career centers, or wherever you are. Utilize the career centers. I should have talked about that first, but she talked about volunteer opportunities, and we talked about internships and job shadowing. This is where you can find that. We don't just post regular full-time or part-time permanent opportunities. We also have resources for finding internships. We also have resources for finding volunteer opportunities as well, with companies that you might be interested in, or that might be kind of geared towards whatever major it is that you're pursuing. So definitely, if you haven't already, utilize your campus career center.
Thank you for your insights. So for 3, I wanted to open the floor for questions. So students, if you have any questions, feel free to either put them in chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. Don't be shy. This is your opportunity to ask your questions. If you have like anything you wanted to talk about, anything you wanted to ask. And meanwhile, while you're thinking of questions, I wanted to just like jump to the next one. And kind of overall, it's kind of broad. What do you wish you have known when you were a student, but also when it comes to searching for jobs, internships, what kind of advice you might give? Yeah, so again, the floor is open for questions, so feel free to put those in chat or unmute yourself, and meanwhile, we can maybe cover that quick.
I can go first. So when I studied art, it wasn't my first choice, but I've always excelled in art. I got scholarships to go to college, and that's how I came forward and decided to settle with art. But I wish I knew that my degree had value, that when like 10 years from now, where I am, I wish I knew that whatever I'm doing, I'm using my degree and going further and building my career. Because when you start off in college, you put so much effort into your exams and passing your grades. You want to use that. So it's really important to join a company like Austin Travis County, but to join a company that'll value your degree and you can build your field through there. I want to touch on 2 things from the previous one. So we do have a 3D tour of our ambulance. If someone is in Dallas and they're not able to come to Austin, Google Medic 33 Mattersport, and you'll get a 3D tour of a field unit and an ambulance. And then our ambulances are the yellow-blue colors. So if you are in Austin and you have any questions, just come up to anyone, wave them down, or you can email us directly, and we'll be able to guide your career and help you.
Thank you. It looks like there is a student with a question. Feel free to unmute yourself, or you can put it in chat.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to this panel. I really enjoyed hearing about different people's journeys and how it's not really linear, I guess, how kind of expected to graduate and then finding different roles. But I guess my question to Mr. James was, what do you find most difficult about the type of work you do?
Oof. I think the fact that it is 24/7, that can be very hard. We know the different departments in our clinical functions have different schedules, but a lot of them are 24-hour based. And again, just the need does not stop. There is quite often where you are out on, what we call a case. You're out on a case, and yet you think you're about to go home, and then you get a phone call that, oh wait, there's another one that's popping up, and that you need to go over here. And so I think just that can have an impact, obviously. And that's one of the things when we're hiring, we tell people that, hey, this is really less of a work-life balance and more of a work-life blend, because being away from home and friends and family and all those things, I mean, that impacts relationships with wives and husbands and girlfriends and kids. I mean, that can just be very hard. But again, I think it's a communal sacrifice that we all make, knowing that at the end of the day, you're helping somebody who you may never meet, you may never see, but you are making the world just that much better.
Yeah, I had a family member who had an organ transplant, and so I know we were like really anxious waiting for that process and getting it. Is there a good way to stay in touch and maybe ask you follow-up questions?
You are absolutely welcome to ask me any follow-up questions. I'll put my email and my contact information for anybody who has any questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your question. That's a great question. There is another one. What is the general process logistics of connecting donated organ to an organ recipient?
Well, that is a very loaded question. And I don't know if I have a whole lot of time to get into that. But really, if I had to summarize it, an individual needs a transplant. They typically work with their doctor who will get them listed at a transplant center. And we coordinate when those organs become available. We coordinate that process with the transplant center who, in conjunction with your doctor, will get you the organs that you need. Although, we all know that there is a shortage of organs and tissue available for the world. So there is a process for evaluating who's eligible and at the moment who has the greatest need and who, might have to, take a backseat to somebody else. But again, I would be more than happy. I'll put my email in the chat box, and anybody who has any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah. And there is a next question in chat. What sort of opportunities are there for someone that would like to work in regulatory compliance in your respective fields?
I can
go
take
for that one.
go ahead.
Okay then. For regulatory compliance, anything, we do have that division. Anything that you can think of, we have that job available. So people start as a medic and you work 2-3 years, promote to clinical specialist, and as captain you have, after 5 years you can promote to captain. As captain you have access to these kind of jobs. So for like regulating things, we regulate maybe how much medicine we use, or our supply, or how many ambulances do we use, or the safety stuff. Every single thing that we do has someone who input study into it and created a policy or something to regulate it. I hope that helps answer your question.
Behavioral health field too. We also have a compliance department that, and utilization management and quality oversight. We have that department as well. And for some of those levels, it does take time and tenure within the field to really know and understand, because in compliance in our field and within our center, you have to know the complexities of utilization management, of contract requirements, HIPAA, client rights, whatever that might be. And so our compliance department, they've been in the field or within community mental health for many, many years. In our utilization management department, it's a requirement to even be a UM that you've had to have 5 years experience working with individuals with serious mental illness, preferably in a supervisory role. And so that, if you're looking more into compliance, quality oversight, things like that, really wanting to know your field and profession, and being having longevity in the field, having the initiative to learn the different reporting requirements and things like that and how they all tie together. But I do want to go back to the question where it says, what do you wish you would have known as a student that you know now? I wish I would have had a panel like this, because I would have loved to know what the opportunities of behavioral health fields or medical fields are besides being a counselor. That everybody who was in my grad program wanted to be a counselor. A couple of people wanted to teach, but it was, I don't think I knew the complexity of what was going to be an opportunity for me with my degree and with my license. For example, I manage our behavioral health budget. Guess how much budgeting experience or accounting experience I got in school? 0. And so when I'm working with my CFO on, our behavioral health budgets, which I'm so fortunate to have, I'm like, I'm a licensed professional counselor. I am not an accountant. And so had I known some of that, I think I would have taken a little bit more initiative maybe years ago, because I started my journey in management and administration probably about 8 years ago. I would have probably taken more opportunity to take some additional classes or certification processes for accounting or budgeting and things like that. So depending on where you are and what your goals are moving forward, if you want to be in a direct service field or, some idea of moving into administration or management, there's so much more that I think that school provides. And so going back to your internship opportunities, shadowing opportunities, and things like that, I think are going to be key to really understand what could be included with your degree or your license or certification.
Wow, I ditto your comment, Danielle. Had I known as a manager that I would need to know about FTEs and understanding costs and budgets to manage 100 people. But yeah, you just kind of learn as you go and have other people that are help you along the way. But anything you can do, and as a student, sometimes you can just get overwhelmed with the workload or the caseload, or you just take one day at a time and say, what do I have to do today to get through these classes? Because nursing school is really hard, and they will expect you to read 50 chapters and be able to take a test on it in a week's time, and then you have 4 other classes as well. And so if you just take it day by day, you're going to get through, you're going to succeed. And then as you see here from this panel, there are so many opportunities in the healthcare field. So yeah, one day at a time, and then just soak up as much information as you can, because it's worthwhile.
Thank you for sharing that. There was another question in chat about mentorship opportunities. If a student doesn't have any connections in the field, but they do want to get some guidance, like what could be the strategies to find mentors and learn more about it?
I can answer. So I would really encourage you to reach out to me. I'll help you try to find whatever opportunity you're looking for in the city of Austin. Yeah, so don't be shy. You can reach out.
I second that. I'm sorry. I would say also connect with your whatever they have at your school. They know people. You don't have to know people. You have to know people who know people, and they do. So use your resources.
Yeah, and that's great you brought that up, because I was just going to say a lot of times the faculty members in your department, they know people in the field. They may have come from the field. So connecting with your faculty members and letting them know what your interests are, and that you're interested in obtaining a mentor for yourself, they can certainly help you with that. And then again, like I said, do some exploring, join some groups or some professional associations in your area of specialty or whatever area you're interested in. Even on LinkedIn, you could find a lot of those groups there. And then put that out there as well, that you're a student and you're looking for a mentor opportunity, a mentor for yourself. And a lot of times people will, be able to assist you in those type of forums as well. And then if push comes to shove, you also always have your UTD Career Center, where you can come get guidance on how to be able to explore those opportunities as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We have 5 minutes left in our meeting, so if you have any final questions, again, feel free to, you can unmute yourself and turn on your video and ask your questions, or you can put your questions in chat. Yeah, whatever that might be.
And then since I'm here, I'd like the students to know that we are hiring. We're not incredibly short-staffed as we were during COVID-19, but we have hiring processes every January, April, July, and October. So even after you graduate, this opportunity will always be open to you. We're always expanding our department and creating new divisions. So if this is something that you might be interested in, I would recommend to reach out to us, shadow if you can, see if this job is for you, and then apply in. We have an 8-week academy. You can even practice in the academy and see, hey, do I like emergency medicine? Do I like how the patient care that we do, or the communications aspect? And you can see if you like it even in the academy. Aside from that, one thing I didn't mention is that we do have an in-house paramedic program. It's free to all first responders within our department, so you have ways to build yourself through there. And then finally, we're an incredibly accomplished department. We're very innovative in our medicine. We also have TV shows like Night Watch, Emergency Call. We won an Emmy for one of our training videos a few years ago. We're ranked number 10 in the top 10 in the world. Our communications department is ranked top 10 in the world, and there's only 11 agencies in the world that has it. The International Academy of Dispatching gave us that award. So we're a really nice agency to work for, and you can also build your community while you're working here. I'm very nervous. I'm sorry. You guys can go ahead.
You're great. Thank you so much for your advice. All right, I don't see any other questions. But panelists, if you can, if you're willing to, you can put your email address on LinkedIn and chat. If students can reach out to you, that would be great. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for all your advice and insights. I learned a lot, and I feel like I'll be able to use this knowledge and also share this video with students in the future so they can watch and learn. You gave a lot of really great insights, because I know how hard it is, how challenging it is when you have one path for several years, and then when you're a senior, you're like, maybe not. So definitely it was super helpful. Thank you so much for all your information and advice.
The City of Austin and Austin Travis County EMS would like to thank all the students who spent time coming here today. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all. If we can help, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much and have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.